recorded live at 4ZZZ Studios, Meanjin, Brisbane.
On 102.1 FM.
And broadcast across Australia on the Community Radio Network.
You're listening to Zed Games.
Zed Games brings you the best in gaming news, reviews, community and culture. Want to reach out?
Share your hot take?
Or do you just want to share your favourite game?
Find us on socials at Zed Games AU.
You're listening to Zed Games. My name is Hazel, and I'm here in the studio with
Zahra
and
Caroline.
This is a show about video games. But how are the two of you?
I'm going to be honest, I don't want to be here right now because I'd much rather be at home playing this certain video game.
A certain video game.
Oh, I wonder which video game it could be.
It could, who knows? I mean...
You might find out later in the show.
Yeah, if you stay tuned.
What about you, Caroline? How are you?
I'm sleepy.
Sleepy? Because you stayed up late playing video games?
Yes, actually. Yes! Yes!
What games? What have you been?
I was playing Slime Rancher.
One or two?
The first one.
The first one.
I'm at the point where I could beat the game, but I'm just rearranging my ranches and rearranging all my plorts into different storage configurations, trying to find the most optimal one.
Dude, I hate rearranging my plorts.
Oh, it takes so long.
So much effort.
It's actually kind of my favorite thing.
But I really like it, yeah.
All my plorts, they're so unorganized, but like when I get to sit down and actually just get them all sorted, it's such a great feeling.
Got to get your plorts in order.
It's good because in the game, I'm so organized. In life, I am not. But through
video games allow you to fulfill your fantasies.
Your fantasy of being organized.
Yes.
Well, Zahra, have you been playing anything that is not top secret?
That is not top secret? I'm still playing Pikmin Bloom. I almost called it Pikmin Bloom.
Yes.
I've after Zara's review last week, I downloaded it, and I've also been playing Pikmin Bloom.
Yeah, we've been defeating mushrooms together. It's great.
The Pikmin infection is spreading.
Yes.
Also, Solitaire.
Solitaire. Solitaire's always good.
Solitaire's always
old
good
when I play it, but
like it's just a classic.
Yeah.
For all ages.
No, Zahra and I have been having a little Solitaire moment lately. I have also been back on my Trackmania BS.
Oh yeah. Is it a new season?
There's a new season. And there's a new mini game mode.
Ew.
It's like platforming and the
platforming in your racing car?
Platforming. Yes. And the point is not to beat the track the fastest, but to beat it with the least respawns.
The least interesting.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's like difficult jumps and stuff. Anyway.
I love when people take games and they turn it into a completely different game.
Yeah. I think it's actually a really good revival of the old obstacle style from the... not the original game, but the game that I grew up with, which is Trackmania Nations Forever. It had this obstacle style of map, which was like acrobatics basically and like puzzles, but with giant jumps in your racing car.
Now you know what? I'm tired of cars just driving around in a big circle. It is time for them to do some epic jumps, some big ramps.
What about a big square?
Maybe you should check out Trackmania Nations Forever.
Maybe I should.
What platform?
It's probably PC. It's coming up on 20 years old, I think.
Oh.
Let me just Google that real quick. Trackmania Nations Forever. It's completely free to play. And always has been. And it has a massive community, although a lot of people are moving to the new game now. 2008. So more than 15 years.
That is... my God,
it's
I
over
can't
16
do math.
years old. It's over 16 years old. That's crazy.
Time.
But that's enough out of us, I think.
Brush up on your pop culture knowledge for Netherworld's ongoing, fiercely competitive Trivia Night, every Wednesday from 6:30pm sharp. There are prizes each week for the top 3 teams, so you've got to be current on your movie, TV, games and general weird stuff knowledge. Register your team online weekly at trivia.netherworldarcade.com. Netherworld is a proud sponsor of 4ZZZ.
This week in gaming news, Silent Hill fans are not silent. The Silent Hill 2 remake has launched and the Wikipedia page had to be locked due to editors just stating lies like the game had received the worst reviews imaginable, despite receiving very positive reviews and otherwise vandalizing the page. The motivation? Unclear. Although there was some discourse about the remake being woke due to changes to characters' facial features and clothing, discourse about Bloober Team being the one to develop the remake, and discourse about there being a remake at all. I just hope everyone is having fun and that you all win. Screen Queensland funding! 9 independent studios in Queensland have been awarded a collective amount of $1.3 million in funding, securing the development of 12 games and supporting an additional 40 positions for developers throughout the region. Benefiting from the game's grant funding include studios Esbug Games, who developed Webbed, Maxart, who is developing Servernauts, 5 Live Studio, who are developing Cozy Caravan, and many more. We are proud to be driving a step change in ambition and opportunity across an industry where Queenslanders can be world leaders in the creation of unique and innovative games. We achieved a 133% increase in the number of projects we are now supporting, and these indie games are driving real bricks and mortar, highly skilled technical jobs, stated Jackie Feeney, Screen Queensland CEO. If you're a dev, next round for grants commences in December 2024. Epic Games vs Google. Epic Games butted heads with Apple in 2023 regarding the App Store, where Epic alleged that Apple were engaging in monopolistic behavior, and although they weren't successful in their case, they were successful in requiring Apple to allow alternative payment methods on the App Store. Now, Epic Games has taken Google Play to court and has won a significant antitrust case, compelling Google Play to open up and offer alternatives to its Google Play Store for downloading apps on Android phones. Epic appears to be building up the mobile market after recently launching its own mobile store. There are plans to draw in developers with a free games program, reduce commission fees for studios using Unreal Engine, and more. Google do plan to appeal the Epic Games verdict, stating that Apple and Google compete directly for consumers and for app developers, and that Android is open and Google Play is not the only way to get apps. Epic and Google will form a small committee to review technical issues with Google's compliance. Less time warping for you. If you're a World of Warcraft fan, you're probably familiar with time walking events, where all dungeons and raids are available at their current level, earning rewards and experience. As a recurring event, there is an array of mounts, toys, pets, badges, and time warped gear to earn. However, collecting the time warped badges necessary will be a bit more difficult, with the number of badges you earn being nerfed. With a quest that would have originally given you 500 badges, players can only expect that reward for their first character in their account. Subsequent characters will only earn 300 badges for the raid and 200 for the dungeon. Right before World of Warcraft's 20th anniversary event on October 22nd, fans aren't too happy. News nibbles! Paradox Interactive seems to be done with Vampire the Masquerade, according to Deputy CEO Matthias Leisure. It is not in our strategic direction to make this kind of game, so if Bloodlines 2, God willing, is successful, Bloodlines 3 will be done by someone else. We don't know that stuff, so we should probably let other people do it. The Shinobi series by Sega will be getting a film adaptation. The hack and slash games follow Joe Musashi, a ninja fighting evil, although plot details haven't been revealed. Stuntman and filmmaker Sam Hargrave will be a director, along with Ken Kobayashi writing the script. Red Dead Redemption will finally be on PC on the 29th of October. Barbie Horse Adventure fans, it will soon be your time. We ride at dawn. And now for some upcoming games. October 11th brings Dragon Ball Sparkling Zero for the PS5, Xbox and PC, Europa for the Switch, Metaphor ReFantazio for the PS5, Xbox and PC, Nick Jr. A Party Adventure for the PS5, Switch, Xbox and PC, Star Troopers Extermination for the PS5 and Xbox, Transformers Galactic Trials for the PS5, Switch, Xbox and PC, and Undisputed for the PS5, Xbox and PC. October 15 brings Darksiders 2 Definitive Edition for the PS5 and Xbox, Just Dance 2025 Edition for the PS5, Switch, Xbox and PC, Just Dance VR for the MetaQuest, Never for the Switch, and New World Eternum for the PS5, Xbox, and PC. That's it this week in gaming news.
Thank you for the week in gaming news, Zahra.
Thank you,
are
Zahra.
listening to Zed Games. This is a show about video games, and our friend Paul, our co-host Paul, has pointed out that one thing was missing from that news.
That is true. That is true.
It was Nintendo's announcement of a smart alarm clock called Alarmo.
Very
which plays copyrighted sounds from and music from Nintendo original games. And it uses a motion sensor to decide what it's gonna play you, basically. So if you're laying there in bed and you're not moving, it's like beep beep beep. You know, it's making sounds from a video game, but it's like getting slowly more aggressive with it. When you start to move, it like encourages you to get up, and then when you get up, it plays like a victory song.
It also tracks your movement in your sleep, and can display that to you, I guess, for how restful of a sleep you had.
Yeah, that's important for some people.
That's a common feature in like many sleep tracking aids. That's not all particularly.
I'm not sure I've seen it with a motion sensor pointed at you from your bedside table.
That's what I'm not keen on.
Yeah,
I don't want Nintendo watching me sleep.
See, the thing is that I think a lot of us might already have like a smart alarm clock that lives in our pockets that has like motion tracking and stuff. I don't know about you two, but like I think I have a device like that.
It's not pointed at me while I'm sleeping though.
Maybe not yours.
Well, maybe not mine. But yeah. Now I am. There are some stories here that are very interesting. First of all, the new round of Screen Queensland funding.
Yes!
Fantastic. Lots of money going to lots of amazing developers in Queensland.
It is really cool to not only see some like familiar names on that list, but to also like see some unfamiliar names and be like, oh, I wonder what they're going to come out with. Like, I wonder what we'll see next year. Like, what's gonna pop up in our backyard?
I feel like the Queensland games community is in a really good place right now.
It really is.
They actually just they didn't clean up, but they picked up a lot of awards at the Australian Game Developer Awards, which we're going to talk about a bit later in the show.
Along with Melbourne's International Games Week, which is all tied together. It's big.
Yes.
Big week for video games.
Yes.
In Australia, specifically.
But
it's our turn.
We'll get to that later.
Our time now.
What do you think about the epic Google fight? I don't even know what to call this.
Well, it's
nothing.
I don't care, honestly.
I really loved reading Google's little like, this is why we're going to appeal. And it's like, clearly we're not a monopoly because Apple is over there. And it's like, well, I mean,
that's no.
Monopoly, yes, technically means one, but it's
I do like the whole Android is open and Google Play is not the only way to get apps. Which
what
is
other
like,
way can you get apps?
You can install other app stores, and most Samsungs will come with like a Samsung store or something like that.
Nice.
It's just if you look up for an app, then the first one that's listed will be from the Google Play Store.
Also, it's the one that comes pre-installed on every single Android phone, and the other ones, like if you want to install something third-party, like F-Droid, which is an open source app repository that you can use as an app store on your phone. All of it's free and ad-free and non-commercial. You usually have to turn off security features of your phone to be able to do that. So it's not exactly encouraged to go and download another app store.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you can go somewhere else to get your apps. But then they put like a big red sign that's like, do not go here. Yeah. It's a little scary. Yeah.
The last thing I want to talk about before we go to another music break is Paradox Interactive saying it is not in our strategic direction to make Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 which, God, what a mouthful. I am a huge Vampire the Masquerade diehard, which you could probably tell by looking at me. But the fact that Bloodlines 2 is being made by Paradox, like, yeah, it is not in their strategic direction. This is the company that makes Cities Skylines and, like, Crusader Kings.
Yeah, it's a bit.
I don't know why they're making this,
but like, massive props to them for being like, oh, maybe we weren't the ones to make this.
Yeah, I respect that, and I just really love the if Bloodlines 2, God willing, is successful, like. I love the idea of just slipping in a God willing into a press release, just like that is about your upcoming product.
It's not a good sign.
It doesn't inspire confidence as a fan, to be honest.
No, but look, it's honest, maybe too honest.
Look, the first game barely worked and kind of looked like crap, but I loved it anyway. And that's enough of that. Zahra, I believe you got something for us.
Prostagma?
What?
Vámonos.
Huh?
Woolaloo. Woolaloo.
Well,
Vej thema for.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess it's time then. Here we go.
Ja. The review we've all been waiting for. Between you two and myself and all the listeners, I don't really want to be here reviewing this right now. If it wasn't for the fact that this is Zed Games and I love it so much and I find our time here so enriching and rewarding, I would not be here right now. I actually want to be at home at my computer playing Age of Mythology Retold instead. I wish I had 20 more hours into this game. I wish I had 200 more hours sunk into this game. All in due time. But I have definitely played enough for this review. This episode, I will be reviewing Age of Mythology Retold, the remake of the original Age of Mythology. It's been rebuilt from the ground up, not only recreating the game in high detail, with controller support and fancy shaders, but also making a few additions and tweaks here and there. If you're not already familiar with Age of Mythology, let me explain. Originally developed by Ensemble Studios, it's a real-time strategy game that generally requires you to build up your base, accumulate resources like food, wood, gold, and favor, create an army, and defeat your enemies to win. You could pick the civilization you want to play as, choosing from Atlantean, Greek, Norse, or Ancient Egyptian, with each civilization having its own unique set of abilities, and of course, Pantheon of Gods. Hazel.
Yes.
What civilization did you pick?
I do not remember, but I assume I picked Atlantean because it was the one that wasn't real.
How about
and
you,
thus
Caroline?
the coolest.
Egyptians, because Anubis.
Yes, Egyptians as well. For example, if you select Egypt, you get a unique asset, the pharaoh, who can empower people and buildings so that they work quicker. If you select Norse, you have to keep in mind the different laborer types. And this is called Age of Mythology after all, so you develop your civilization through a variety of ages, signifying your progress and strength. To move to the next age, you must select a god to worship, giving you a unique set of units you can train, a focus for upgrades for your civilization. Some gods like to focus more on the economy, while others are all about warfare. And god powers, which you can invoke in certain circumstances. In the mythological age, that represents your sort of final stage, unlocking endgame assets like siege workshops, wonders, and titans. You could play quick matches, but the missions are a ton of fun, taking you through various mythological stories and playing through them as the characters, and they're pretty extensive. Multiplayer was also a huge hit, with many LAN parties to be had. You could team up with your friends or tear each other apart. This is only somewhat related, but I found out that Red Bull Esports covers Age of Mythology.
What?
And it's intense.
Huh?
I've never seen like some of the usage of like god powers and like some of the units has been like, I did not know that was possible. The strats, it's insane.
Competitive RTS players are crazy. I didn't realize there was a competitive scene for Age of Mythology.
It's
That's great to learn.
And the commentators are, I feel like they should be a little bit more chill, like golf commentators, but I'm here for it. So the original Age of Mythology was released in 2002, and I would say it still holds a special place in my heart to this day. It can run on my old laptop. It's the only computer I have with a disk drive anyway, and I have very fond memories of making up my own little storylines in a match. So all of that holds true for Age of Mythology Retold. Other than it looking amazing, with units getting all new models and animations, stylistically it looks the same. Booting it up, it looks how I remember the original looking. You ever go back to a childhood playground with what you saw had the biggest slide ever, only to realise it was actually a normal size slide? You don't have to worry about that feeling here. Everything looks visually clean, satisfying, and easy to read, which is important for a strategy game. And it's a lot of fun to zoom into a rockbird landing or a sphinx spawning and watch their animations bring them to life. The music also got redone, and although it's very similar, identical melodies and all that, it is different. And it's not something I clock unless I'm listening to the title theme. It sounds good, but it's just missing a bit of crunchiness that exists in the original. Not quite as punchy. Dialogue in Retold is fully voiced, and I don't recall enjoying the cutscenes this much the first time around, although I remember the missions with a bit more clarity. So going through the story missions feels a bit like playing for the first time. Some of the jokes and scenes are a bit cheesy, but it does help me relate to these mythical figures more easily. Like, heroes are just like you and me, except that they're sort of immortal. Unless unless the listener is immortal, like that's your situation. I'm not judging. More power to you.
Yeah, if Percy Jackson is out there listening, I guess this is relatable for you.
Yeah. If you played the original, do expect some gameplay differences, like a larger population cap, the ability to use god powers multiple times for a favor cost, and even the future addition of other civilizations in the pantheon, such as China. There is also the addition of a new age called Wonder Age, after the Mythic Age. There's so many age. Complete with its own set of bonuses to look forward to. Multiplayer still exists, although it isn't possible to play through the missions together, which is a bummer. There are missions that already exist that would work really, really well for two factions to cooperate and work together. But don't worry, because the community has been working hard to deliver custom maps that solve that very problem. In conclusion, I want to go home to play more.
Okay.
Well,
Bye.
I'm sorry, but we do actually have to be here for another 20 minutes or so.
Drats! I mean, yay! Zed Games is my favourite!
It's your second favourite thing in the world behind Age of Mythology.
Right now, in this moment, maybe. But that's okay.
Well, that's all for Age of Mythology.
Start them off. Vámonos. There isn't any, like, Wooloos in Age of Mythology.
No.
I forgot.
Well, see,
That's
that
more
was,
of like an Age of Empires 2.
It was Age of Empires 2 that is the one that everybody remembers because, well, one, it was the best game of the series.
It's
and
sick.
Two, the Wololo thing was, that was the sound effect of a priest converting one of your units.
I could have sworn that was in the first game.
Or you converting an enemy. It might be in the first game as well. I don't remember that well. I just remember 2 really well.
I played the first game so much growing up.
But I don't think it would actually make too much sense to have the priest doing the Wololo thing in Age of Mythology because, like, the gods are literally real. Like, they're doing stuff. How are you going to convert somebody?
Priests can do stuff too.
Well, in Age of Mythology, there is a god power where you can just turn the enemy units into pigs.
Yeah.
So,
but that's not like converting them to your religion. That's just converting them to being pigs.
What if your religion is pig?
I don't even know how to answer that.
babe in the big temple, I guess.
You know what? It's time for a break. So we are going to be listening to a couple of songs.
You're listening to Zed Games at 4ZZZ.
You're listening to Zed Games on 4ZZZ.
Oi mate, you're listening to Zed Games at 4ZZZ.
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 Got a bit carried away.
You are listening to Zed Games on 4ZZZ. My name is Hazel, and I'm here in the studio with
Zahra.
and
Caroline.
and we are here to talk about Melbourne International Games Week, the Australian Game Developer Awards, and even PAX. That's right, PAX. You've all heard of PAX, that giant thing that happens in Melbourne every year?
Yeah. I've heard of PAX. It's spelled PAX.
Yeah.
PAX. Yep.
Do you know what PAX stands for?
I actually don't.
Penny Arcade Expo.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
It's actually
cute.
started by the Penny Arcade webcomic guys.
Oh my,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. Oh, I love that.
Anyway, no comment on whether Penny Arcade is good or not from me. But before PAX every year, there is actually another thing, Melbourne International Games Week, which is a huge week of industry events leading up to PAX. And that has just happened and culminated. Well, it's actually not quite over yet, but culminated with the Australian Game Developer Awards.
Da, da, da.
That's right. Presented by the Interactive Games and Entertainment Association. So this year there were some really, really, really good games that came out in Australia that needed some awards. And should we keep Game of the Year a little secret and save it for last?
Yeah, let's hold off on the Game of the Year. But here's a couple of familiar names. We've got, for winning excellence in mixed reality, we've got Max Mustard by Toast Interactive, which is a Queensland studio. Mm-hmm. We've also got excellence in impact, as well as just excellence in impact. For Crab God, developed by Chaos Theory Games, which is a particular favorite of mine.
I believe what you wanted to say is that Chaos Theory Games, who made Crab God, also won Studio of the Year.
Yes! Thank you.
I knew
for
I saw
their
their name
positive
twice.
contributions to the games industry.
And of course, there's a familiar face in the winner of Excellence in Accessibility with Bez in Space by Broadside Games from Queensland.
Yeah, but that's not the only other Queensland studios who won awards, boys. For excellence in narrative, we've got Capes by Spitfire Interactive, and Cozy Caravan by Five Live Studios took home excellence in sound design, which I think is well earned.
Very well earned. And this was a huge night for Queensland games, obviously. But I am just so happy that so many of the game studios that won are people who are really, really active in the community. They get out to events. They want you to play their games before they're even done.
Yeah.
You know? Like, virtually every one of these Queensland developed games you could have played at Queensland Games Festival this year before it came out. You could have played a demo. And also, a bunch of them you could have played at our events that we do in collaboration with Netherworld.
Yeah, the Indie Game Nights.
Yeah.
One of which might be coming up in a, month or so, maybe.
Keep an eye out.
Keep an eye out on the socials. But I think it's time. That we talked about who won.
Shall I do a drum roll?
Sure, let's all.
I'm not doing a drum roll. As well as taking Game of the Year, excellence in art, as well as excellence in emerging, that goes to Conscript by Catchweight Studio, which is a Victorian studio.
And
Congratulations.
Conscript is a very interesting game. It is a very lo-fi, I guess. It reminds me of point-and-click adventures from the 2000s, but it is a survival horror game about being a French soldier in the First World War. and it's horrible.
Well, yeah.
Like it's a horrible experience, but I'm sure it's a great game. I haven't played it yet, but it just took Game of the Year at the Australian Game Developer Awards. Like that's.
I want to play it, but I'm scared. Will you play it with me?
Yeah, sure. I'll play it with you.
Yay!
We can do that.
Yeah.
We'll have all the lights on, and do it in the middle of the day.
Yes.
Because.
Yes.
But I do want to call out a couple of the other ones there. Wild Bastards by Blue Manchu took excellence in gameplay, and that is actually the spiritual successor to Void Bastards.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, how fun!
Yeah, which was a pretty well-known thing.
I don't know it, I'm afraid to say.
Well, I think you should check it out. I think you would actually enjoy it a lot.
That's my homework.
And excellence in mobile went to Dumb Ways to Survive by Playside Studios, as well as Earn to Die Rogue by Not Doppler. And I just want to say that Playside is, they're a big studio with a lot of places, but they are a little bit a part of Zed Games with our late friend Cam, who did work for them for a while. So it's, it feels like such a community, games in Australia. Everybody knows each other. It's so cozy.
It's like,
but it's also massive, and there's so many amazing games coming out all the time.
Yeah, there's so much going on just in like the Brisbane region in general that like when we get to like Queensland, there's so much more, as we've seen with the Screen Queensland funding. And then you get to the other states and it's just like, holy moly, I wasn't even looking over there. Where did this all come from?
It's all up on you while you're busy looking at Brisbane.
Yeah,
you check Discord on your phone, and right after the announcement of who won these awards, you get pictures of the game developers just on their phones just being like, check this out, I got an Agda. Like I think that was one of the sound design guys from Max Mustard did that recently.
Yeah.
But
it's important to remember that a lot of these devs start out with like their passion projects, who just have a good idea and a lot of heart and effort and time and money gets put into it. And it's so nice to see that payoff. It's so nice to see that rewarded. It's so nice to see what gets made. It's so nice to see everyone just uplifting each other.
Well, we have waxed poetic so long that we're actually running out of time.
This means I could go home to play Age of Mythology.
That does mean you can go home and play Age of Mythology. Yes. It's great news all around. So that is all from us this week on Zed Games. We love you so much. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next week.
See ya!
Bye!
Goodbye!
Love you!
Thanks for listening to Zed Games. If you'd like to listen to more, you can find us on the Community Radio Plus app,
or find us on socials at ZED Games AU.
See you next time!